Heat trembles above the earth as if the air itself is trying to escape. Here, in the Danakil Desert, the world feels unfinished, still caught in a moment when creation ran out of patience and left the land raw and exposed. Salt flats crack underfoot like old bone. The horizon bends in the heat, and nothing stirs, because very little can survive the thought of living here. Beneath the ground, magma presses upward with a restless heartbeat. It leaks into the world in strange ways, pools of acid glowing colors that shouldn't exist on a living planet. Lime green sheets ripple beside crimson vents. Sulfur rises in yellow plumes that drift like ghost smoke across the baked plain. The air tastes metallic. The ground shifts. Even silence feels corrosive. The land fractures into salt canyons, carved not by water, but by time and the collapse of a dying sea. Their walls flash white under the sun, mirroring glaciers, even though the heat could melt steel. Every surface carries the memory of an ocean that once spread across this basin. Now it's a desert so hot that sweat evaporates before it forms, a place where shadows seem to shrink from the sun rather than offer shelter. At night, darkness doesn't bring relief. Instead, the earth glows. A lava lake churns in a crater like an open furnace, its molten waves collapsing and rising with a slow, terrible rhythm. The ground trembles with every breath of the volcano. Its red light paints the rocks and turns the smoke into a moving veil. Standing at the edge feels like staring into the beginning of the world or the end of it. Around these fires, life survives in defiance of everything. Microbes cling to boiling springs, crafting thin mats of color on the rocks. They feed on minerals and acids, rewriting the rules of biology. Scientists call them extremophiles. The desert treats them like a challenge, and they respond with quiet persistence. Their existence raises a simple, unsettling question. If life can thrive here, what other strange corners of the universe might hold their own secrets? The wind carries the sound of distant cracking, like a warning whispered from deep inside the crust. Fault lines zigzag across the desert, marking the slow tearing of a continent. Africa is splitting open millimeter by millimeter, and the Danakil lies over the wound. What this means is that the very ground we see today is temporary. Mountains will rise, valleys will drown, oceans will return. The desert is only a chapter, not the story. Salt crystals bloom in delicate formations, shimmering as if they were frozen snow. But touch them and they crumble like dry sand. Opposites coexist everywhere here. Fire beside ice-colored stone, toxic pools beside fragile mineral gardens, a landscape that looks too unreal to believe, yet shaped by the most fundamental forces on Earth. Even the heat has layers. It presses from above, radiates from below, and drifts sideways in waves. It blurs distance and bends light. Travelers say they can see mirages of floating mountains, inverted horizons, phantom lakes that vanish as soon as hope rises. The desert isn't trying to deceive. It simply refuses to stay still long enough to be understood. Occasionally, wild camels appear at the edge of the salt flats, moving with slow determination. They navigate this world with a memory older than routes, older than maps. Their presence feels like a reminder that even in the harshest places, life finds a way to stitch itself into the landscape quietly, stubbornly, without fanfare. As the sun climbs again, the colors of the acid springs sharpen: blues, greens, oranges, yellows. They pulse like the palette of a planet being painted in real time. Steam rises from vents with the smell of burnt metal. Bubbles break the surface of toxic pools, each one carrying a breath from deep underground. This is a landscape sculpted not by weather, but by chemistry, pressure, and a kind of ancient anger. What strikes you standing here is the paradox. Everything seems lifeless, yet every detail hints at constant movement. The heat is overwhelming, yet the desert feels strangely cold in its indifference. The ground is solid, yet the crust is thinning beneath your feet. You are walking on a door that is slowly opening. The Danakil is not a place built for human comfort. It doesn't soften itself for visitors, it doesn't offer meaning. Instead, it confronts you with a raw truth. The planet is alive, dangerous, and magnificent beyond comprehension. And sometimes the most hostile landscapes are the ones that reveal the deepest beauty. In the end, as the horizon blurs again and the desert glows in impossible color, one thought settles in. This is Earth at its most honest. A world stripped to its bones, showing us what creation looks like before life takes hold. A reminder that even the harshest places carry their own kind of wonder, waiting for whoever is brave enough to listen.